Now we are talking about the restaurant platforms. It can't be a more timely topic than now, where Delivery Hero is expected to go public with a 4.5 billion euro valuation, helping our friend Oliver Samwer to have an easy time with us here on stage, because as we all know, there's a lot of value in Rocket made up by Delivery Hero. These companies, which were doubtful, or we were doubting them in the past, proved us all wrong. They have a big business and they have changed the habits we order food. Please come on stage. We're doing a little panel, right? So we have Adrian from Just Eat. He's the CEO. In fact, your former CEO is now chairman. Wanted to come. Thank you so much for coming. Jitse, thank you so much. So, Peter, first question for you. Niklas told us he has midsummer holidays in Sweden. And Tamir, of course, from Israel, from Tempodrom. So, is Niklas on midsummer holiday or is he busy on a roadshow?
I think he's quite busy for the moment. So I think he's for the moment in the US.
So he even had a better excuse.
He has a real excuse.
Okay, we're very, very happy to have you. Now the pricing is not out, but the range is out, and it looks like a magical, great thing. When you look at the volume you serve, the restaurants you work with, you have always been very focused internationally. And the biggest surprise, why the classified companies never really mentioned to go abroad, you guys, okay, Tempodrom is a, we'll speak about in a second, but let's start with you, Delivery Hero. You managed to go international very, very early, both through M&A. Why is that these businesses are so relatively easy to scale internationally? What is the magic here?
Well, first of all, it's part of our philosophy that we actually like to work with local founders. And the reason why we are successful in all those markets internationally is because we keep on operating those businesses through those local entrepreneurs. People are very close to the restaurants, know the customers very well, and actually also have the flexibility and the means, of course, with the central support of Delivery Hero, to really capture the value in those markets.
So you find the local talent and then you give your tools, learnings to them. Yes. Off they go. Jitse, you are the founder and CEO of Takeaway, and we had a lot of founders on stage, like Wix today, or we had John from Stripe, who set up the businesses and they follow them through decades. When did you found Takeaway?
In the year 2000.
In the year 2000, so you're 17 and a half years in.
Unfortunately.
And you also went public.
We did, yeah.
And your market cap today is roughly?
Well, it changes every day, so it's difficult to keep up with it. It's 106, approximately.
And you're in the Netherlands, and you two are already competing and are going to compete a lot more in the future, I assume.
We are, but we also competed with Just Eat. We're still competing with Just Eat, of course, so I think it's healthy to have some competition.
Maybe to make it a bit easier, we can go from Just Eat over to Tempodrom. If you talk quickly about your top 3 countries by size, by revenue size.
So our top market by far is the UK, which is about two-thirds of our business. We actually, our second largest is Australia. And actually beyond that, we don't break it out specifically by market. We sort of, because we're a public company, we group our markets into a couple of segments.
Australia.
But I can say Brazil, which we own a minority stake in, is a phenomenal market and growing. It's already very large and growing at a phenomenal pace. But we're in...
These countries are not exactly close to each other.
No, indeed. So I've got quite a few air miles and a certain amount of spousal neglect goes with that.
So you do have to visit local management from time to time.
I think it's critical that as a leader in the company, you know what's really going on the ground. You can't sit in head office with some PowerPoint slides and expect to really understand the business. And I think in our business, that also means meeting restaurant owners, because we work with about 70,000 restaurants around the world. We need to understand those people because they're actually the heart of what we do.
Speaking to customers helps sometimes.
Yeah. So
Peter, what are your largest markets?
Well, we look into our business and we look into in segments, right? So we have a European segment, we have a South American segment, a Middle Eastern segment, and an Asian segment. We're active in 42 markets, and of course, Germany and Europe is an important market. In Asia, Korea is an important market, and the Middle Eastern as a whole, because it's actually 8 smaller markets, but it's a very, very attractive segment as well.
And Jitse, when you go into countries, we met in Amsterdam a few weeks ago, and you told me when there is no player yet, it's an easy market to go in. Have you ever gone into a market and defeated a local player?
Depends on what you mean with defeat, but I think it's important that these markets are not so easy to win. It is very important that you go into a market where people actually order food. Everybody understands that in France, people order less food than in Germany, for instance, or in Holland. Our largest countries are Holland, still, is the largest. Then we have Germany, and we are the largest marketplace in Germany, but the German marketplace is still smaller than the Dutch one, so this is why we're investing in it. And then followed by Poland.
Sorry, I did not understand. The German market is?
Lieferando here in Germany
Yeah.
is actually smaller than a Dutch brand. And that's, of course, a strange thing in a country that's 5 times the size in population. It is the largest marketplace here in Germany, and we are growing it rapidly. We grew 47% in Germany in the last quarter. It's very important for us to grow. But you know, there's a couple of markets that are really good for food delivery, and there's a lot of markets that are not so good for food delivery, and you need to be the dominant party in a large addressable market. I'm not talking about a large addressable market in terms of population. I'm talking about people that actually order food.
Interesting. So how is it in Israel? Tenbis, your company is a little different because you're working a lot with the corporates.
Yeah. So we started the company 17 years ago. Our focus was B2B.
17 years also.
Yes, back in 2000. And since it was very hard to raise money back then, so it was easier for me to do the B2B business. And we are very active in this market. And actually, early last year, we started approaching the B2C market. And we are already the #1 player in Israel. And we see the habit in Israel that it's very similar to the habit in Europe. The Israelis order like 2.4 orders a month, and more than 75% of the population order at least once a quarter. Over 50% are ordering every month. So it's, I must say that it's easier to play without competition, and our target is to win our market, and we are focusing on this only.
So I had Glenn Vogel here from Priceline yesterday telling me that they're solving a lot of problems, not only for us looking for hotels, but for hoteliers managing the customer service, and they're giving a lot of value add. I'm just asking this into the round, and whoever has the strongest answer, please go ahead. Do you offer tools for your restaurants as well to help them run their business? Because you take more or less 10% of the GMV, right, of the bill. How do you justify it?
So we're actually very keen to do more and more for the restaurants over time. So of course we started by just giving them lots of business, which they appreciate.
You filled their restaurant.
We filled.
Oh, sorry. You made the kitchen.
We made them busy. We made
utilized the
kitchen
capacity
busy.
of the kitchen.
And of course on a quiet night, that's very important to utilize all that capacity that the restaurants have. We then started to do more by giving them some of the numbers around their business, which a lot of these people hadn't seen before. So, you know, most of our restaurants don't have an electronic point of sale system. They're running with a pen and paper. So for the first time, we're actually giving them some data about how the business is performing. And now we're going beyond that by negotiating discounts for our customers in bulk. So in the UK, for example, we've got about 28,000 restaurants. So we can kind of aggregate that buying power and then go to a food wholesaler and say, look, give us a discount.
Oh, really?
If they're Just Eat customers, give them a better price. And we've got restaurants who are making more money back through those discounts than they're paying us in commission. So we want to help the restaurant's bottom line, not just their top line.
That's fascinating. We had the Metro CEO here yesterday, Olaf Koch, talking about what they are doing to the hospitality industry, this sounds like you're cutting them out. or where are you sourcing it from then?
So the specific deal in the UK is with Booker, which is one of the biggest wholesalers in the UK. But of course, it's a great, like all partnerships, it's a win-win because we're helping to introduce them to many restaurants that they might not otherwise have.
Yeah, they win
made
customers
contact
and
with.
you reduce the cost.
Yeah.
Jitse, what do you do for the restaurants? In Holland, maybe you can give some numbers in Holland because they're remarkable how big your business is there.
We have helped last year about 21% of the adult Dutch population. So
21%
of the whole population in Holland, actually.
21% of the population ordered through you food.
And this is why it's so interesting, for instance, in Germany, where we have served only 6% of the population, and Poland, where we have served 3% of the population. So you can see that the penetration level can still go up quite dramatically. But to your question regarding what we do for the restaurants, well, it is, of course, nice to offer additional services, and we do that. So we do provide merchandise, jackets, electrical bikes, and those kind of things. In the end, the restaurant only cares about orders. So you can cut away all that, and of course you can use it as justification to raise the rates a bit, so that's certainly true. But the restaurant cares about orders, and whatever else you're going to offer them is far less important to the restaurant owner.
Yeah, I would say that providing orders, giving orders to the restaurant is absolutely key, but for us, we see the restaurants also as our partners, and together we deliver to our customers. So we have a lot of focus on educating the restaurant, giving them data, and providing technology so they can actually serve the customer better, because eventually customers returning to our platform, that's the key of our business.
Do you have even an ordering system like a
Yeah,
SaaS
so we built the back office for the restaurants to manage deliveries, and automatically it became a point of sale system for this restaurant. We are adding more features in order to support them. We have a commitment that they will run more efficiency, and this is the reason that we can charge our commission, all of us, beside of the orders. And we are automated lots of things on the back office for the restaurant in order to fulfill the order and to satisfy the customers. So we are investing lots of efforts on our backend that interface with the restaurants.
And the food which gets delivered is usually warm, I guess. I think Deliveroo had like the strategy of trying to do it better, faster. We invited Will, he came to our London conference 2 years ago. Do you have any issues that consumers are not happy because the food isn't hot?
Well, of course.
Or they warm it up?
The vast majority of the time it's a good service, the food is hot. Of course, sometimes it goes wrong. You know, we're doing hundreds of thousands of orders.
When I cook, it's always cold.
When you cook, I'll have to come round. I'll have to come round and get one of our restaurants to teach you a thing or two about cooking. But when you're doing hundreds of thousands in an evening, of course, sometimes things don't go the way you'd want. But what we do is just make it easy for customers to review restaurants. So we've got effectively the largest database of consumer reviews of all of these independent restaurants who we work with. So it's actually a great way to choose where you want to get your food from.
And you all organize the delivery, or is it done by the restaurants?
We are gateway only for these orders. We are not fulfilling the orders, but in 10bis, if there are problems, usually it's the delivery time, and it's about 5 to 7% of the orders. It's not the heat of the food, and we are trying to solve it by helping.
So who brings the food in your model?
The restaurants.
The restaurant takes care of it, and they have their own delivery people.
Yes, it's run by scooters in Israel, and this is how they do it.
Oh, good. And I think you have your own.
Yeah, so
they like to strike, I heard, no?
I think in general they provide a very good service, and so we have Foodora, we have our premium brand in 10 mainly European countries, and increasingly we are quite successful also driving own delivery, and we do it because it enables us to increase the restaurant variety and the choice and the quantity for our customers, but also, exactly as you said, to kind of control a little bit more the experience, especially in countries where we don't always have that visibility or clarity. There are measures we can take by kind of ranking or prioritizing good performing restaurants, but controlling the service element is absolutely an advantage.
Jitse, what you do for restaurants to find new customers? What's the split roughly of your business of repeat orders to restaurants where you order from the pizza guy, the sushi guy, versus suggesting restaurant, big data? Everyone on stage talked about big data. I'm sure you also have big data where you tell me, hey, you order from these restaurants, the other one also orders from these restaurants. There's this one which this guy loves, you should also try it. Is this stuff you're already doing?
Well, basically we distinguish between existing users and new users. I think it's very important. We don't disclose the new users, so sorry I can't really answer your question, but it's actually quite important for us to get the existing users to order more frequently, which is what we're doing, and to get as many new customers as we possibly can. The benefit of these brands, of course, is that when people have decided for a certain website, they will stick with the website. It's very difficult for us to get customers from our competitor, and it's very difficult for the competitor to get customers from us. So in most countries in which you are the dominant player, actually what happens is that you will get the most new users, and you have so many existing users that the number two cannot overtake you. And this is kind of how this marketplace works.
And how is it at Delivery Hero? Do you suggest new restaurants to existing users?
Well, we have different features and tools which enables restaurants to promote themselves, like kind of premium listing, or a tool which we call Joker, which is something they invented in Turkey, which allows restaurants basically to attract especially customers that never ordered from that restaurant. Besides that, we are investing much more time and energy in personalization, because there's so much data we have on the customers, so we actually can really understand what the customers want. And still a lot to do, but we're focusing more and more on it.
Let's talk a little bit about M&A. Almost all of you have done a lot of, we have a deal done together, which was a partnership with a PE company. But Adrian, you also bought a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
And I think rarely we hear afterwards, no problems whatsoever, no integration problems. Why is that? I mean, Delivery Hero, you guys too, you bought Untitled. We had them many years on stage before. Why you guys do M&A so well, or why is it so easy to buy businesses in your sector?
I shouldn't say it's easy. I mean, you know, we have
Looks easy.
We have some amazing people, and if it does look easy, then it's because, you know, we have some amazing people who've done a phenomenal job. Because, you know, there are often difficulties of all kinds when you do these partnerships. But the basic reason that we do it is to improve the scale of our business in a country. So in Italy, for example, we had one city in Italy where we were struggling to get traction. There was a very, very strong player in that city. And of course, you want to have a strong nationwide brand. You don't want to have pockets of the country where other brands operate. So we bought a business called Pizza-Bo out of Bologna, and we've now unified that operation completely, and now we're a truly nationwide player.
Are you teaching the English how to do right pizza?
Well, our most successful pizza restaurant in Italy does something like 15,000 orders in a month, and there isn't. I mean, just imagine that for a second. How busy that, and it's one outlet that's doing that volume. There isn't any pizza restaurant in the UK that can do that. So yes, there is probably some knowledge transfer there to be done.
Interesting. Peter, is Untitled running still on their own systems, or you migrated them on your computer systems?
Well, they're still running on their own system, and it's something actually at Delivery Hero where we strongly believe in as well. So one of the reasons that we have been quite successful in global expansion is because we actually allow those local entrepreneurs to keep on managing the business. The food delivery is a local business, and we strongly believe that these guys and keeping these guys on board is fundamentally important to really capture the local opportunity. In terms of Untitled, of course, they operate standalone. We support and we share best practices that we can easily grab across the globe. At the same time, Untitled is also sharing certain product features and managing certain project features for certain in other markets. So it's an exchange.
Jitse, when you look back and started takeaways in Holland, have you thought that it would be ever a pan-European giant? Like,
I will tell you what the first goal was. The first goal was to send a an order actually to a restaurant.
To send an order to the restaurant.
That was the big dream, and that actually cost us 6 months. So actually, that's how that started. And of course, the goals and the dreams they get bigger. So at some point, you are the largest food delivery website in Holland, and then you can be happy. I mean, our EBITDA in Holland last year was 35 million euros, a lot of money, and you can be happy with that. But we said, okay, look, there's so much space in other countries in Europe, so let's expand the business, and we did exactly that.
And you obviously replaced telephone ordering in your countries. In Israel, telephone ordering is still a very large market.
Yes.
You're helping the corporates to have changing, exciting, yummy food in the cafeteria areas.
Yes.
But you haven't yet, I think, managed at mass market to put food on the dinner tables at the families at home.
Yeah, so this is our challenge right now. We are focusing on teaching the Israelis that to order through 10bis, it's much better than to order directly from the restaurant. And we see a potential growth, and the numbers are great. We are growing the business, doubling the business year over year, so it's great.
So do you see yourself more as a consumer-facing business or as a B2B company? I mean, you were religious about showing the capital market that you grow their restaurants, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to give a full offering, because what we also discussed in Israel, when you have like your favorite restaurant who's not on the platform, you have to have a certain coverage, I think, before it takes over. But listening to you and the 10%, and I think Priceline is more at like 15 to 20%, you bring a lot of value to a restaurant, which shouldn't be a very technical setup. But are there other areas or segments where you can leverage your big customer base? Have you thought about selling other stuff to your UK clients, or is it really just laser focus restaurants? We don't start selling them anything else, no drinks, no...
Well, of course,
it's tempting, right?
You can get drinks from the restaurants.
But they're a bit expensive.
Well, it depends where you're buying from, but there's a full range, including beer and wine.
In your model, does the restaurant
from
take
the
care of the deliveries, or are you
Yes.
also
So
the restaurant?
the vast majority of the time, it's the restaurants who are doing the logistics. But to answer your question, we've been extremely disciplined at Just Eat. We've been very disciplined about our business model, about which markets we enter, about controlling our costs, and that's why since we went public in 2014, we've consistently delivered on the promises that we've made to the external markets. So I think we've done a lot to build confidence in the sector through our discipline and performance. So that means we're going to stay disciplined, and we're going to stay focused on what we do, which is food, and working with restaurants. And we think because so much is still done over the telephone, there's still massive room for growth. Just in the markets we're in, there's an opportunity of over 20 billion pounds, British pounds, which is, I guess, about 20 billion euros these days, in delivered food already in those markets.
Right.
And we're only doing slightly more than 2 through our platform. So there's huge room for growth with this business model.
And you solve many problems. Now we learned that you're also helping the restaurants to improve their sourcing. We had a city event, a NOAH dinner in London, and there was a company who was doing menu analytics. Are you advising your customers on, no, this dish is really old-fashioned, you should have it, you should get now some caramel ice cream, or hands up who's doing like menu analytics or is thinking about it? It's a big data, it's a big data thing, no? Maybe.
Yeah,
Pieter.
so it's definitely an area where we look into it. So if you look at product and what we're building for the next couple of years, it will be more about being more inspirational, personalization, and that on a dish level. So especially the Foodora team, our premium brand, is really looking into how to do dish level recommendations.
Exciting. And back then, when I speak to restaurants and I ask them if they deliver, they said, oh no, this we don't do. It's more like the mass market, and they were very snobby about it. And they think if you deliver, the number one argument was, no, we are worried. Now it's changed because you have so many restaurants, it's becoming a bigger standard. Hotels, I think Booking has 1.5 million, they told us. Trivago's at 1.2. They're at 80, 90% penetration. So are the real estate agents and the car dealers. What is the penetration roughly in your markets? I mean, let's start in Israel. It's
We
one
just
country.
started the B2C, so our penetration on the B2C is low, but it's jumping.
No, I'm talking about the restaurants. Like how many is that where additional growth is coming
About
from?
50% of the restaurants in Israel are using our platform. We are adding hundreds of new restaurants all the time. And in Israel, most of the restaurants are delivered by themselves. It's become popular that not only the Chinese, the pizza places, the burger places, but also better kind of
Like
restaurant.
Asian fusion, contemporary, or whatever you want to
They
call it.
cannot, not getting into the deliveries, it's a big portion of their income, and we are helping them, yes.
I think it depends a lot market by market. Yeah, if you look at the Middle East, yeah, this is a market which is by nature more a market around convenience. So delivery or food delivery is part of their culture. Same for Turkey.
Turkey, we sold a business called Groupfoni. It's like a Groupon model.
Yeah.
You could buy a Turkish dish for like 20 or 5 cents or so through the. It's like all about deliveries there, right?
No, in Turkey we sell almost 24 hours 7, right? So people order their breakfast, their lunch, and then in the evening you can order from the best steak restaurants in Istanbul. So the ecosystem there is totally different than what you see, for example, in Europe, where in Europe it's still a lot around pizza. And that's also one of the reasons we kind of developed a premium brand to kind of offer a broader range of restaurants to the consumer. Yeah.
Also there you add probably more value because for them to fill a seat in the night with higher margins makes a lot of difference. We invited the CEO of Domino to be with us on stage, and he told me he's too busy to come and fly over. He is the best performing stock of last year, went up 30 times, and that's mostly because of internet, of digital, because they're having a huge order growth. Now, some of these big chains like McDonald's, Domino's, they are not on the platforms. Maybe I can ask, I don't know, it's probably public because I can order through them.
Yeah.
But you have some of these large
Yeah, we
chains?
do. So we're starting to work quite a bit with the chains, and I think the case for them working with a business like ours is pretty overwhelming, because we have the customers. You know, we have the customers. We're in cities all over a country like the UK or France or Spain.
They cannot afford not to be on it.
Yeah, and it's just like in travel. You know, if you're an airline. Of course you're on Expedia. Of course you're...
Not always. Lufthansa pulled out for a while. But
unless you're
then come
Lufthansa.
back.
Yeah. So I think if you look at the way the travel vertical has evolved, I would expect food to evolve in a similar way.
Right. And how is it with delivery here at Smart?
Again, you mentioned McDonald's. We work with McDonald's in a lot of different markets, in South America, in Middle East, in Asia, even in Germany. So if you want to order tonight McDonald's online,
For sure.
you should order through Lieferheld, Pizza.de, or Foodora. So we see that we're getting more traction there.
How is it in Holland?
Look, it depends a bit. We have for 99% the same business as Just Eat. So we have the portal business. 1% we do the delivery. Now the 99% of our business, that's the most awesome, best e-commerce business worldwide. I mean, that's really great business. The 1% where we have to do delivery is the absolute worst thing you can do. Deliver the food yourself, because you lose a lot of money by doing it. Very simply put, because...
You're not a postal company, right?
Well, yeah, look, if we send a message to a delivery restaurant and the restaurant delivers, we send a message. The message costs us 11 cents. So whatever we charge on top of the 11 cents, that we make money. If you do delivery, you have to put somebody on a bike. And we treat our people nicely. I mean, we hire them, we pay insurance, we put them on nice electrical bikes. We don't do things that other companies might do. I'm not talking about your company, by the way. But it's a very difficult business. And we don't think that business is anywhere remotely comparable to the marketplace, the portal business.
Tamir?
So we don't have problem with the big chains because all of them are using 10bis already. But it's interesting to say that once that the customer getting into our portal, our mobile app, pizza is not as popular as Asian or other food types because people wanted to order pizza, getting into 10 bis and see the selection of the restaurants. And our recommendation, we show them that the top 10 restaurants, the top 10 dish that they can deliver now, they can order now for delivery, and they choosing not to order pizza as you can think of. And it's great that we offer the big variety of restaurants and food type to their customers.
Well, in America, they should also order other things than just fast food, and the country will be a lot healthier. I think it's fascinating, and for me, the lesson learned was that you are helping the restaurant with a lot of more things than just keeping the kitchen busy. Analytics, sourcing, big data. This justifies more than a higher take rate. We are very keen to see the journey, and I say thank you very much for being with us. And good luck for the pricing.
Thank you.
Thank you.